We will get started now. And I'm sorry for wearing my sunglasses. I had a little accident over the weekend and I fell down some stairs. And so it's more painful for you to look at me than it is. And so I actually didn't know this, but I've heard several stories now that I actually tried to catch myself, and I hit my elbow, and then I hit my head right here, and so I really didn't have a black eye, and then all of a sudden, like a day later, the blood vessels that were broke, they drained, and it gave me a black eye. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, so that's why it looks so scary. See, I'm making children cry. So I didn't want to be rude by wearing sunglasses. I just want to let you know. My name is Amy DeGrappa. I am the regional director for the Wyoming Humanities Council. And people always ask me, what are the humanities? And the humanities are things that we do every day. It's our discussions. It's our contemplation on life. It's everything that makes us human, whether it's religion or culture or literature or sociology or psychology or architecture. And so it's what we discover and learn about ourselves as human beings that we want to talk about. And I found this, and I wanted to read it to you because I think it's so perfect when it talks about what are the humanities. Because the Humanities Council, the organization I work for, this is what we do. We want to bring people together to have discussions around critical thinking and convening conversations. And it says, the humanities introduce us to people we have never met, places we have never visited, and ideas that may have never crossed our minds. By showing how others have lived and thought about life, the humanities help us decide what is important in our own lives and what we can do to make them better. By connecting us with other people, they point the way to answers about what is right or wrong or what is true to our heritage and our history. The humanities help us address the challenges we face together in our families, our communities, and as a nation. And that's why we are here tonight. So I want to play a piece of a film. I want to say thank you to the Wart and Jim Waldrop and his staff who have been so terrific in sponsoring a whole series of community awareness and cultural diversity programming that we have been doing since November. And this is the final one for this year. But this program is also funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities and the American Library Association, the Community Foundation of Jackson Hole, the Community Resource Center, and the Latino Resource Center. So all these partners came together to make this happen. So thank you for being here. What I want to say about this film that you're going to see, it's just going to be a short segment. And if you want one of these so that you can look it up online, I believe it is in Spanish and English, and it is the untold history of the Latino people. It's 500 years of Latino Americans in the United States. It would be great to share this with your children and in your classroom. And I will give you this because it has the web address where you can download and watch each of these. There's 6 episodes altogether. 500 years of Latino history in the United States. Okay. So I want to introduce our discussion leader, and she is going to tell you about our evening this evening. Isabel Zumel, she's the Assistant Director of the Teton County Library.
Okay, so I think you guys thought you were coming to a panel discussion where there'd be a bunch of people sitting up here and telling you what you need to be doing. That's not happening. Tonight, you are going to be turned into the panel, okay? And I'll explain how in a little bit. And you're going to be helped into being the panel by 6 fabulous discussion leaders. These are people in our community right now who are actually working very actively on the issue of Latino education. So one group is going to be led by Kelly Mathews. Kelly Mathews is here. She is a Coulter elementary school teacher, and she is going to be co-leading the discussion with Laura Perez. Laura, wave. I've had the pleasure of knowing Laura for the last 5 years. She's one of the girls in our little group called College Bound Latinas. She is graduating like next week and going to UW. Our second discussion leader will be Heather Goodrich. Heather, I sprinkled everybody around. There's Heather. Heather is with the Teton County School District. She has a really long title, but we're just going to call her the Dual Immersion Coordinator, because I'm sure many of you have heard about the Dual Immersion program. That's one of the big things that Heather works on. Daniela Peterson. Daniela, there she is. Yay. So Daniela is a counselor, and she specializes with working with Spanish speakers in the Latino community for a group that she started called La Familia Counseling. Elsa Lemin. Elsa. So Elsa is with the Children's Learning Center, and she is an early Head Start home visitor. So she actually goes into the homes of many of the families that we'll actually be talking about tonight. Katherine Mcculloch. Katherine. There's Katherine. Katherine is also with Children's Learning Center. She is a Head Start teacher. So that is the preschool program that is actually in our community very heavily Latino. So she works with these children every day, and she is going to be co-facilitating with another one of the College Bound Latina girls that I've known for 5 years, and I won't go into that again. She's also graduating from the Jackson Hole Community School next week as well, Anais Gomez. And our last discussion leader who is going to help you be the panel is Laura Saltau. She is the new executive director of Teton Literacy Center. She has a handful right now. You might have heard about the cuts that are going on statewide, but she is valiantly leading on, and we need this program just as much as we need Head Start and all of the other folks in this room. So here's what we're doing tonight. We are going to do something that my friend Letty Liera sort of made up. She says it's like Italian, but I don't really know. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to, you're going to hear a story. Okay, so this is going to be a provocative story. It's going to be a provocation. And then after that, I'm going to call on one of the discussion leaders and ask them a lead-in question that's going to help bring out some of the points from that story. Then after that, this is where you guys come in. I'm going to ask you to turn to the people to the left and your right, and I'll tell you which way to turn. And I'm going to ask you a question that's going to get you thinking about this particular topic. And then everybody's going to get up and move around, and we are going to form 6 groups of probably about 7 or 8 people. And all of these groups, everybody got a sticker, right? Everybody has a different color, right? So actually, some of you have the same colors. Your groups, what we're going to try and do is have the groups not have, like, all the blues can't be together. Like, we need to mix all the colors, the blues, the reds, the yellows, the greens. That's what we want our groups to look like, and then we'll go into the questions. So the 3 topics that we're going to be discussing tonight, which are very much related to the film that we saw, are, if I can look at my notes here, are hopes and dreams. So what are our hopes and dreams for education of Latino children here in our community? Navigating the education system. How do we help families who, maybe immigrant families, navigate our educational system here in the US, and specifically here in Jackson? And then our last topic is going to be integration. Okay? So that's kind of a handful. I will walk you through this entire process. Don't worry, we won't get lost. Okay. Yeah, because I'm going to ask Daniela to repeat the entire thing. Okay. So this is going to be tricky because Letty's translating, but she's supposed to tell this first story about hopes and dreams.
I can translate if you want.
Yeah. Okay.
No va a ser perfecto, pero voy a hacer lo mejor que pueda.
What if she tells it in Spanish?
¿La puedo hacer?
Yeah, do that. We tell it in Spanish, then we translate in English.
She goes into English, then she needs help. Ok, so esta es una historia que si son de Head Start y fueron al forum de Early Head Start ya lo oyeron.
So this is a story from Head Start.
Uno de los papás que a mí prácticamente me rompió el corazón llegó al forum de Early Head Start donde les preguntamos qué es lo más importante que han aprendido en Early Head Start.
So one of the parents that comes to Head Start that practically has broken her heart said to her, what was the question?
So the thing that I asked him, I can go
From yourself. It's going to be a lot more simple.
I'm a fast interpreter, but if I go too fast in English and you don't get it, tell me, because the other day
I translate English into English for her.
I know, the other time, so the other time I was telling Isabel, if we get people to talk to someone that doesn't speak their own language, si hacemos que alguien hable con una persona que no habla el mismo lenguaje, we are going to give them brownie cookies.
She meant brownie points.
Y entonces no me salió en inglés, me salió una bobosada en inglés. And there's no brownie cookies or brownie points in Spanish, so it sucks. Anyway. So this parent came with, this parent is a beautiful dad, and it was the moment that they came to the stage, and they said, the one thing I learned in Early Head Start was to value education. La cosa que dijeron en Early Head Start es lo que yo aprendí en Early Head Start es a valorar la educación. And then he said, I was able to transmit this to my kids because we have very high expectations in our families. And you bet, because these home visitors, they have schedules, they have time frames, they post everything. Y eso fue lo que hacemos en Early Head Start, porque ustedes como home visitors, o si son parte de los home visits, les ponen horarios, les ponen cosas que tienen que hacer. Las home visitors son intensas. Home visitors are intense. So the thing that he said is, even though I don't know how to read in English, and my reading in Spanish is not at a very high level, y lo que dijo el papá es que aunque él no leía a muy alto nivel en español y su nivel de inglés también es muy, muy bajo, their child came home with the spelling bee trophy. Su niño de la escuela vino con el trofeo del spelling bee. This is when everything works right for a child. Esto es cuando todo funciona bien para un niño. He was welcome in Early Head Start through Head Start. Fue bienvenido en Early Head Start a Head Start. He was welcome in school. Fue bienvenido en la escuela. And his child was successful against all odds. Y su niño fue exitoso en contra de todas las expectativas. Because if you look at research, and your dad and your mom did not complete high school, porque si ustedes ven la investigación y su papá y su mamá no completó la secundaria y la preparatoria, and if you look at research and you add poverty into the mix, y si ven la investigación y agregan pobreza a esa cosa, he's not supposed to succeed. Lo que es que no se supone que debe de ser exitoso. So that's my provocation to you. Yes, my provocación para usted.
I need the mic back. So here you go. Hold this one. Okay, so I'm going to do this so that we're not getting feedback, hopefully. So Daniela. Okay, so our question is, in this particular story, by the way, all of these stories that we're telling are true stories here that are happening here in Jackson. The mom and dad had no formal education in English in this particular story. Why did this child succeed?
English or Español?
What should I say? English.
But I'm smart in Spanish. I already said that before. Well, I have to say that regardless the level of education, there are so many factors that depend on the emotional side. So the bonding, the trust, self-confidence, a healthy, safe environment, all that plays a very important role. It's not about the money, it's not about how much education I have, but if as a parent, I am involved all the time with my kids, if I show interest in what is my kid doing, even if I don't know about the information they're learning, just by sitting in there and say, how can I help you? Maybe my son or my daughter will say, can you help on this? And I have no idea. But I can say, I don't know, I can Google it. Or I don't know, but I can sit with you and both we can figure that out. I believe in you, and even if you don't have it perfect, it's okay, let's do our best. That means that the quality of time that I have with my kid, the emotional safety, just saying, you're smart. smart. I know you can do it. And if you can't, it's okay. We can figure this out. Not a problem. So making education as a very enjoyable process instead of just focusing on the outcome. I think it's important for the parent to say, let's figure this out, let's have fun, and don't give, like, go and do your homework as a punishment. No, let's have fun and enjoy. How do you feel when you get it done? Even if you don't have it correct, did you have fun? I think that's very important. And in that story, it's telling me and it's showing that just believing in your child, just giving self-confidence and just being there and say, I do care about what you're doing and your learning process will make the kid to feel safe, emotionally and mentally safe. So I think that's the key of everything.
Now it is your turn. This is going to be very interesting. Here's the question. I want you to turn to the person on your right and in one sentence tell your partner what your hopes and dreams are for your child or for our community's Latino children. If you turn to your right and you find that it's a person that doesn't speak the same language as you, raise your hand and we will get help. That's perfect. Okay, so groups. Now that you guys are in your groups, here's the next direction. Okay, here's the question you guys are going to discuss in your group for about 5 minutes. What do we have here in our Jackson community going for us and against us in relation to the hopes and dreams for our Latino kids? You want me to repeat that one more time? Okay.
Yeah, please.
What do we have in our community here in Jackson going for us and against us in relation to our hopes and dreams for the Latino kids in our community? About 5 minutes. And what I want each of the group leaders to do, you guys have a discussion, we're going to do a report out. I want each group to report on one thing. Okay. Okay, groups. Okay. We're going to go this way. Okay? All right, let's hear the first group with Kelly and Laura.
Okay, yes. Working together and being empowered, that's a great thing. It will be a great community.
Working together, we have that going for us, that we work together.
Yeah.
One thing that's a challenge for us,
Arrogance.
can you explain that a little bit more?
So people not respecting, making decisions without being inclusive.
Okay, so people making decisions without necessarily including the people who are going to be affected? Okay. I'll write it. The next group, Daniela's group?
Yes.
Yes. So what do we have going for us? Like what's working to our advantage here in the community?
What's working? One of the things that people mention here in my group is that, like, for example, the dual immersion program, it's very inclusive, and that would be a positive resource for our community. And
Is there any more, Daniela?
yes, I think we were kind of immigration law. That would be something that goes against, and the challenges is also the amount of work that Latino families need to have in order to be able to keep up staying in town, which reduces the quality of time being involved in the kids' education.
Okay, great. So the amount of work required to live here, and that takes away from time with kids.
Yes.
Okay, the next group, is it Heather? Heather's
Sure.
group?
And I'm sorry, I'm going to speak in Spanish first and then I'll
Okay,
translate.
that's totally fine.
So, dijimos que, que tenemos muchos recursos aquí para ayudar a la gente que lo necesitan, que esta es una buena cosa como doble versión y Head Start y que hay muchos programas aquí para la gente que necesitan ayuda. So what we said that we have going for us is that we have a lot of programs to help people who need help.
Okay.
Okay. Y la cosa que es difícil es que muchas veces la gente no sabe cómo accesar a esos recursos.
So,
So I'm sorry, that often people just don't know how to access the resources. Y que necesitamos una ley de migración que tiene sentido. And we need to pass some immigration laws that make sense.
okay. Okay. Am I missing? Oh, I missed Elsa. I'm so sorry.
In our group, we discussed a little bit about the challenges against thank you. The challenges we see mostly in our families is the housing issues, the high cost along with it. That affects too many families being able to have to deal where to live, how much it's going to cost them to live, where they're going to live. And in the positive side, we found that events like these engages the community to be participants and to learn and be informed about everything that's happening in Jackson, Wyoming.
Oh, that was very generous. Thank you for that one. This kind of event is working great. Hopefully. Let's see, where's Katherine? Katherine, in your group.
For the advantages, we talked about the dual immersion program again. And for disadvantages, we talked about the lack of translators in the school system and throughout the communities, which makes it really difficult to advocate for your child.
Great. Not great, but thank you. I got it down. Okay, Laura, did I miss anything? Laura, I think you're the last one.
So for positive things in our community, we talked about the community norm of valuing education. We discussed that parents believe in education, families, teachers, that we're all working together towards a common goal. For the challenges, we also talked about the economic opportunities in the community and how hard it is to stay here, working numerous jobs and taking away from family time. And also the fact that we, as a state and as a community, a lot of our students are going on to college and they're gaining degrees, but then they're not returning to Jackson, and so we're losing that population.
So losing some of the folks that we've educated here in this community and coming back to contribute back. Okay. So I think for the hopes and dreams, I think some of the things that really came out strongly, the dual immersion program, that's why we're really glad Heather's here, that came out as a really strong one, and probably one of the pieces that in some ways will probably be pushing us forward. And just in terms of Head Start, what we've seen, we have a very short longitudinal study that we did, was that some of the kids who came out of Head Start who were in a dual immersion environment, who made it into the dual language program in the school districts, by third grade they're reading at or above the reading level of their English-speaking middle-class peers. So that's kind of one of the things that we've seen. So yes, round of applause for the dual immersion program. Also, it seems as though we have a lot of resources and a lot of willingness, and I'm hoping that this particular event is going to be able to start to pull us all together to really tap into that. The things that are real challenges, obviously the economic situations, the cost that it takes to live here, the amount of work that people have to do, and how that takes away time from children. So we're going to move on to the next topic, but what I'm going to tell you is that we're going to be recording these and then sharing these out with you guys, as well as with the Wyoming Humanities Council, because I think this is a first conversation that we're going to have. We're going to see if actually we can continue to build on this to actually get towards solutions and action. But I thank you for indulging us in helping be the brain share for this first panel. Okay, our next topic is, what's our next topic? Navigating the education system. And we are going to have Laura read a story. Again, this is a true story that's happening here in our community.
Okay, so Throughout my school years, there were times when some of my classmates were missing school, either occasionally or regularly. A lot of the times this was happening because their parents were working really long hours and their parents needed them to take care of their younger siblings while they worked. Sometimes my classmates thought it was thought of it as a nice break from school. Other times it was really hard for them to concentrate on studying because their home situations were difficult. After a while, it got harder and harder for them to catch up with homework and what we were learning in class. It's not that they weren't good students or not smart. It's just it's hard to be a good student when you miss so much school.
Okay, so I am going to call on, if I don't fall and get a black eye. Okay, it's like an obstacle course up here, and there's not even a table. Okay, Kelly, so your question is, as we've seen in the story, sometimes by necessity, families depend on their children to take care of younger siblings, and sometimes this pulls them out of school. So how can this child's community, which is made up of schools, parents, families, neighbors, mentors, how can this child's community navigate the child's learning in a difficult situation like this?
I think it's really important as a community that we gain a sense of trust with each other. There's no judgment that takes place when we know that a child is missing school because they're caring for siblings. And when we create trust in our classrooms, not only with the child and then with the parents, then we're able to help the child navigate through a very difficult situation where there's been many children that I've taught in this county that do miss school because they're at home caring for their siblings. Trust, lack of judgment, good leadership within our school district, understanding, and then as well reaching out to all of the resources that we have in our community to help students understand that we understand and we are very empathetic, some of us, having come from that difficult situation as well, but also we have a lot of compassion that we can work through something that's exceptionally difficult for our students. It's not their fault. There is no fault. It just is what it is. So when I'm advocating at school, it's leadership, external, internal resources, compassion, empathy, teachers, parents working together, and the understanding of our children.
Just to add to a little bit of what Kelly was talking about, because actually this was a story that Kelly shared with us, is that sometimes if there is an opportunity for educators or community members to actually visit the homes and see what's kind of going on. Kelly has done something very extraordinary, and I don't want to make you cry, but one of the things that she did was, for a child who was in this situation who was pretty consistently missing class on Fridays, she found out why, which had to do with childcare, and she worked with that student to provide them the things that they needed to be working on that Friday, and giving them the go-ahead to say, go, you can do this, come back Monday. And that has been working. So, applause, Kelly. Okay, so talk and turn. Okay, we know our left from our right, right? Correct? Okay, so now I want you to turn to the person on your left and tell your partner about a caring mentor that helped you through a difficult time. And that could be a teacher, that could be a neighbor, that could be a church member, that could be a family member. But we're going to get to what are the qualities that we're looking for here. So tell your partner about a caring mentor that helped you through a difficult time. Okay, go. Okay, so we're going to report out. Well, we're going to go this way this time. Okay. So we're going to report out what is one characteristic, a caring mentor that you guys talked about in your group that stood out. So Laura, you can give the microphone to Laura.
Well, actually, first off, from College Bound Latinas, Liz, Kelly, and Sandy, we just want to say thank you to Isabel and Lecty for being with us for 5 years. and so on. I don't know what we would do without you guys.
So we shared some great stories, and I think at the foundation of what we talked about was a trusting relationship that allows you to openly communicate. And in that trusting relationship was compassion. Whoever we were talking about, our mentors, they truly cared about our well-being and wanted to help. So that's a lot in one, but trusting relationship, caring, and open communication.
Thanks. Okay, Lori, can you pass it to Katherine?
So we talked about how we've seen mentors in the community, the teachers and people at the library being good mentors. And some of the key characteristics being that they're good listeners and they're accessible and they can believe in you and seek you out to communicate even if you're not asking for help. They can identify that.
Did you get that? Good listeners.
So good listeners.
Oh, okay, that sums it up. Excellent. Okay, to Heather.
So just one.
Just one.
Había uno que creo que
Or
es
you
muy
can do a compound one like that.
Okay. Que es muy importante, que dijo que es alguien que le quita el estrés. Y para mí es muy interesante porque escuché una presentación hoy sobre comunidad a los alumnos que están en pobreza o que tienen muchos problemas en sus vidas y dijeron que la cosa más importante es que tengan a alguien en su vida que les quita el estrés. So someone who helps you alleviate your stress. And I was just saying that. It's very interesting to me because I watched a program today on how to help kids who are growing up in poverty or who are dealing with problems with learning English or whatever, and challenges learning English. And one of the number one things that they need is someone in their lives who takes away their stress.
Excellent. Let's see, Heather, we're going to go to Elsa.
Sure.
Just one point, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the points that we discussed was that one of the best characteristics in a mentor for us was to help you focus on the positive things in life, build you up in your self-esteem and confidence, and lift you up. You know, we're talking about kids as well. You know, we are not just talking about like for adults. We're talking about little kids, little tiny kids that trying to learn to speak and trying to say something to you, and sometimes they see if they are not sure what they are doing, and you say, "Come on, keep going," you know. So that is for me to encourage the little child. Go ahead and do it. Try it. You know, give them that confidence that they can do it.
Focusing on the positive, keeping them confident, and
Build them up.
building them up.
Yes.
Motivate. Excellent. Daniela? Uh-oh. We gotta get it down to one.
So, I think, so I don't repeat what is there now, that it's a mentor, a caring mentor is a person that makes you feel like you matter as an individual and that you are unique. And at the same time, they need you for their own, how can I say, well-being. Because it's not about just helping you for you, I'm gonna help you. No, it's like, I'm gonna help you because I believe in you and you have potential, and I need to pass that on as well. Sí, gracias. Lo que pensamos es que un mentor, ¿cierto? Es un buen mentor, es una persona que hace sentir que uno importa, que es una persona única y que no solamente te están haciendo algo para ayudarte a ti, sino que también el mentor gana algo y aprende de ti. Y eso es muy importante.
Thanks, Daniela.
Sure.
And then Kelly? Jordan, go Jordan. Jordan works with me at the library, so I'm going to make her do it.
Hi, Isabel. So we talked about how a good mentor should motivate you, push you to be your best, inspire you, and a lot of other things as well, but I'll just stick with that one.
Excellent. Okay, I put you on the spot. Very good. Okay, so what we have up here it seems like trust is the basis for much of this. Somebody who's a good listener, somebody who can motivate you, somebody who is compassionate, somebody who makes you feel like you matter and that you're unique, and that inspires you. And so these are qualities that we love to see in educators in our school district, in all of the schools that we have in our community. But I think also this is kind of a reminder for all of us as we leave here, and the people, the children that we meet within our lives. Remember these qualities. This is one actionable thing that you can do when you leave as you encounter children in our community. Okay. Great, thank you, girls. Okay, next topic. Sorry, I'm moving right along here. Anais, you're gonna stay up here. You're staying up here. I'll move this because you're telling our next story.
Okay, so I was asked to talk about segregation in the school system. And going to a small independent school, I didn't really come across this in my classes, but in my extracurricular activities, I definitely did. I'm a member, or I was a member of the Jackson High School cheer team, and about 90% of all the girls on the team were Latina, compared to the dance team where almost 100% of the girls were Caucasian. And comparatively, it is a lot more expensive to be on the dance team than it is on the cheer team, just because a lot of the girls on the dance team have a bunch of classes at Dancers Workshop backing it up. So, yeah.
Okay, I lost the other microphone. The other microphone. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Cool. Okay. So this is a question for Heather. Okay. So the question is, where is my question? What could true integration look like in our community? I'm going to run this.
I'm already crying. So I have to say I've been doing this for 18 years, bilingual education, and I still cry all the time. It's so annoying. So, voy a hablar en español primero y entonces voy a traducir. So, la pregunta es, ¿cómo se ve la integración? Y
The question is, what is integration?
les puedo decir cómo no se ve. No se ve cuando estoy en una conferencia entre padres y maestros. Sorry. Y tengo que traducir para los padres y los hijos.
So I'm going to tell you how it does not look like. Integration, I don't see integration when I have to translate between parents and children.
Sorry. So the teachers that I teach with here know I do this all the time, but this is just something that's very difficult for me after 18 years. I still see it. So,
Así que,
lo que decimos que es
so
integración,
what we say is integration,
usualmente es asimilación.
usually is assimilation.
Es una parte, asimilación es cuando hay una parte chiquita
There's a
que
little
tiene que
small
ser parte
Has to
de
be
algo más grande. Esta es
part of something.
asimilación.
That's assimilation.
Integración
Integration
es cuando hay dos cosas que
is
se
when two
combinan
things that
para hacer algo nuevo.
and you will have something new.
So, mi pregunta
So my
es,
question is,
¿qué tiene que ser la
what
gente
have to do as a person?
cuando asimilan a nuestra cultura?
When
¿Qué
you
pierden?
assimilate,
¿Qué tienen que perder
what do they have to lose
para ser parte
to be
del
part
entero?
of this bigger group?
¿Y qué tenemos para ganar
And what do we have to gain
cuando integramos y
when we
creamos algo
truly
nuevo?
integrate and we do something that is a strength? Can I add something? So what I see many times in integration or an assimilation, and it's what you, Heather, was getting at, you lose a generation. When a kid cannot talk to their mom in their mother tongue, you are losing so much of a connection. It's like me talking to you with an accent. This doesn't feel as good as when I speak Spanish. So that's what really hurts us because we see it every day. Oh, and
I'm going to keep this because I like it.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, I have way too many questions on this piece of paper. Okay, so this is your talk and turn. Oh, but you're not turning to your left and your right. You are going to find someone in the room that you don't know. Okay? So just look around. You're going to do 3 things. You're going to introduce yourself to that person. You're going to tell your partner what your mom's name is. And you're going to tell that person what your favorite food is. Okay? So introduce yourself, mom's name, favorite food. If you can do this with somebody in the room that does not speak the same language as you and you're able to figure it out, you get the brownie cookies that Letty was talking about. Go! You're going to get back into the groups that you were in before. Everybody? Anybody? Okay. Big groups, this is your question. It's a very simple question. Ready? Okay, ready? The question is, in your big groups, how did it feel to talk to someone new? That's the question. Very deep question. Okay, go. How did it feel to talk to someone brand new? The question was, how did it feel to talk to someone new?
We had a blast. I don't really know what other word to use, but it was really fun for me because I asked for my partner to actually speak in Spanish, and then I was trying to figure it out, and I was like 50%. And that's because of you two. So I thank you. So I thought it was very fun. Some of the other people in our group mentioned that it might have been a little bit difficult, but the topics were easier, but in a different situation, it might have been a little bit more stressful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kelly, can you pass to Elsa?
In our group, we could say all that felt good to talk to someone who didn't know, and very refreshing. And to me, it was really refreshing because I spoke to the gentleman, and he, at the end, he made a cheese, and he says, by the way, I don't remember what you just said, I have Alzheimer's, and he had just a good laugh. And I said, that's fine, I still understand it, so that was an excellent way to approach each other, so thank you.
Very good. Okay, Daniela?
I think we all agreed that it was fun, it was interesting, but again, I mean, we are in such a safe environment, and that makes such a big difference. If most of us were outside of this place, it wouldn't be that easier.
Absolutely. Do you want to pass to Heather or Katherine? Whoever. Okay.
Dijeron divertido, interesante, extraño, difícil. So fun, interesting, difficult, strange.
Some of us felt nervous, and it was very fun. And for me, I think it was fun to have the large group as well, because we all got to kind of get to know each other. So meeting one new person and the whole group for me was great.
Laura, you're going to close the night for us.
We acknowledged that it depended a little bit on our personality, whether we were shy or whether we were used to talking to new people. But I think one of our group members said it best when he said it was a gift. Era un regalo.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'm not gonna torture you with more questions and more group work. This is actually the last topic that we're working on together tonight. I want to thank you guys for indulging us in this process. It probably was not exactly what you were expecting when you came. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to end up sharing these notes with you guys. So if you're interested, you can write your email address on the evaluation form that Emmy passed out, and we will forward you guys all of these notes. And I hope that you'll use those as reminders for what we can do as we move forward. I encourage you to share what we've talked about, share your experience that you've had here with people out in the community so that this conversation can continue. And I know maybe that last exercise was a little bit cheesy, but we can either talk about integration or we can actually do it. And so we wanted to end the note on doing it. So with that, thank you very much for your participation tonight. There's a couple of announcements. Heather, do you have an announcement?
Yeah. So, vamos a tener una junta mañana con el distrito escolar, con el superintendente. Ella va a estar allá para hablar sobre cambios que tenemos en el distrito. Vamos a tener escuelas nuevas, están cambiando las fronteras de las escuelas, y ese va a ser en español. Por la primera vez les pidió. No vamos a traducir. Si quieres venir, if you want to come to this meeting, you don't speak English, you don't speak Spanish, then we will translate for you into English. Pero no tienen que llevar puestos los audifonios. So es muy importante que vengan la gente que hablan español, porque tengo miedo si no viene la gente que no van a hacer otra vez. Es mañana en la iglesia católica a las 6, de las 6 hasta las 7. Y tengo aquí información. Okay, so tomorrow night the district is doing the first ever, oh, I'm gonna cry again. This was a battle. First ever Spanish only informational meeting for Latino parents. Sorry, once I start, it's all over. The people I work with, oh my gosh, they're like rolling their eyes at me. So it's the first ever Spanish only informational meeting that the district is doing. We will offer you headphones to translate into English if you want, but we will not be presenting in English. So we're really hoping that people come, because if they don't, we may not do this again for a while. So. And I have information.
Okay, thank you so much for being here, and I want to just remind you how important it is that you put your email addresses and or your phone number or a way that you can receive information, so that when we continue this conversation, then we will be able to be in touch with you. And also, any ideas of topics and things that are important for discussion, we also want you to write those down on this piece of paper, and be sure and hand it to me or my husband Steve. Thank you so much. Or Letty or Isabel. Thank you.
Nope.